Hi guys and happy new year. So a new year means, new TBR, new reading goals and everything. And of course, new book releases. So I've been just looking at some books that are set to come out in 2026 and I made a list of the ones that I'm most excited for. So why don't we, take a look at all the 2026 releases and try to, make our own like 2026 TBR. So I divided it into a few different sections so that, it's easier for you to navigate and maybe just get to the part that interests you the most. Let's start with fantasy slash romantasy. First book on my list is called Weaving Shaw, coming February 24th. I've actually got a digital arc for this one, so I will probably be reading it pretty soon. If you like spooky manor houses and slow burn romances, this one sounds incredible. It's about this girl who can see ghosts, but she keeps it a secret so she doesn't get locked away. Then her brother gets really sick, and in order to save him, she makes a deal with this guy called the Saint of Silence. He wants her to find a specific ghost at this cursed estate called Weaving Shaw. So it definitely sounds like a very creepy, haunting read, and I can't wait to dive into it. The Red Winter, which is coming on the 24th of February. I think this one might be like the most exciting out of all of these. I don't know. It sounds like the most unique in a way. It's set in 7085 France and follows a monster hunter named Sebastian, who is kind of pulled back into action to fight a werewolf that he thought he killed 20 years ago. He teams up with his ex. He also has like a demon companion who eats hearts. And the French Revolution is literally happening in the background. So it feels like it's going to be a very dark and intense read. Next is Wicked Onyx, coming February 10th. This one is set in this brutal magical academy where everyone's either hiding something or trying to kill you. And our main character comes from this like cursed bloodline with no magic, which is kind of a problem because magic is like everything in this world. But her mother leaves her some sort of clue and she sneaks into the academy in order to uncover it. There's a deadly magical system, revenge plot, and some sort of love triangle, I think, because the blurb talks about two guys. So I'm not the biggest fan of love triangles, but it does sound like a very interesting book. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the magical academy setting, it is a bit like overdone at this point, maybe, but I'm still eating it up. I still love the like magical academy setting. Even though it's been done so many times, I'm still a huge fan. So I'm definitely looking forward to this release. Then we've got The River She Became, which is coming June 30th. So we have to wait a little bit for this release, but talks about this woman who is a scholar by day and relic thief by night, and she's trying to bring magic back to her kingdom. And when she ends up finding a key to the Fey realm, she crosses into this magical world with some rebel captain who also wants the same relic as her. Obviously they don't really trust each other, but they also kind of like need each other. So if you're into ancient curses, magical politics, and enemies to lovers set in a dangerous world, this sounds like a very fascinating read. Okay, next up is a book that I also have a digital arc of. So I definitely will be reading it. So all the books that I've got digital arcs for, I will 100% be reading before they come out. This book is called A Widow's Charm. So it's a fantasy romance set in a world where necromancers are real. And there's this like widow that basically blackmail her neighbor, who is a necromancer, to bring her late husband back to life. But very funny thing happens because she starts falling for this neighbor. I don't know, it sounds like really quirky and a little bit charming. Like, I don't know. It just sounds like such a funny concept. So I definitely will be checking this one out. Then we've got Agnes Albert's Mystical Cat Shelter. It's set in 1920s Montreal, and it's about a woman who runs this cat shelter that accidentally becomes the front for a sketchy magical shop run by this wizard. I guess if you're into like slower character driven stories with a hint of romance and whimsy, then this sounds like a great read. And also, if you love cats, it's also probably going to be a great read. Next is A Vow in Vengeance, which is set to be released on the 13th of January. Rune, the main character, fakes her way into the immortal realms, which is a place full of magical elites. And she does it because she wants to find out what really happened to her family. Again, there's like a romance subplot with this prince who is really charming and powerful, but apparently he's absolutely not to be trusted. There's also some tarot-based magic, so it sounds really exciting. I will definitely be eyeing this release. Next category is romance. The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez, coming March 31st. Okay, Abby Jimenez is like one of my favorite romance authors. It is actually second book in her new series. What was it called? I forgot. Say You'll Remember Me. Okay, that's the name of the series. I'm not gonna lie, I have not read the first book just because like I've seen mixed reviews about it. I don't feel like really drawn to the first book in this series. I read another series by Abby Jimenez, which was Part of Your World, and from what I noticed, like her series, you can read the books separately as standalones, but there will be a lot of references to the previous books, maybe some of the same characters appearing again. So, if you want like a full context and everything, it is good to read these series in order. But if for some reason you don't want and you just want to pick a book and read it as a standalone, you can do it as well. I will probably read the first book before I dive into The Night We Met, just because, I like understanding all the references and everything. Okay, let's talk about the plot of this book, because I'm just rambling about different things. So this book is about Larissa, who meets the perfect guy after a concert, but it turns out that he's not her date. And, months later, she's in a relationship, but not with the guy that she actually clicked with. So it's a story about, timing, complicated feelings, and figuring out what you actually want. Apparently, there's also a rescue dog involved, and that in itself makes me really want to read this book because I've officially adopted a rescue dog, kind of. It was basically a dog that was living on the street, and because it's a she was very afraid of people at first, including me. She did not want to be touched or whatever, but I just kept feeding her whenever she came by. Then also turned out she was pregnant, which is like a whole other thing. But, fast forward a few months later, she did give birth. We found homes for the puppies because we could not keep the puppies. But we decided to keep the dog. It's not easy. She has really severe separation anxiety that I'm working on, but she is the sweetest little girl. Well, anyway, I don't know why I'm suddenly talking about this, but Yeah, there's a rescue dog involved in that book. So I feel like, oh my god, because like I have a rescue dog right now, like that's just gonna hit me so hard. Now for something a little more intense, I've also added this book on my list. It's another book that I've got a digital arc for. I know it's so strange. I've got so many digital arcs waiting for me. I've been putting off reading them because I had some like other books that I wanted to read by the end of the year. But now I really need to tackle this list of all the arcs that are waiting for me. Anyway, this book is called Spies, Lies, and Alibis. So this is for people who want romance but also want something with suspense, something a little bit more intense. It's about two former childhood friends who now are both undercover and they run into each other while infiltrating the same criminal organization. So it definitely has like this undercover drama, some old feelings resurfacing, and lots of, banter and trust issues. So, if you like romance books that have a little bit more like action and a little bit more edge to them, then this might hit the spot. Next section is literally fiction, which technically only has one book, but let's talk about it anyway. Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy, which is set to be released on the 20th of January. Now, she is very famous for her memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I'm not gonna lie, I've not read it. Like, I don't know why. I don't really feel like drawn to reading it. I know it has like very high ratings and people generally talk very positively about the writing and everything. So it seems like it's not a bad book, probably. But I just don't feel like reading it at this point in my life. Maybe one day I will read it. I don't feel like reading it anytime soon. But she's decided to now come out with a fiction book. And it definitely sounds a lot more interesting to me and something that I'm willing to check out. So, okay, even the title itself, Half His Age, it just makes my skin crawl. I'm not gonna lie. It definitely seems like this book is going to make the readers feel really, really uncomfortable. It follows a 17-year-old who becomes obsessed with her older writing teacher. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it's going to be a very intense read, that talks about desire, control, grooming, all sorts of different things. I don't really know what to expect from this book. Like I said, I know it will definitely make me feel extremely uncomfortable, but I still want to check it out. Now let's move on to thrillers and mysteries. So first up is Anatomy of an Alibi. It's about two women who switch places for one night to spy on a cheating husband. But the next morning, the husband is found dead, and now both of the women are suspects, but only one has a real alibi. It definitely sounds really intriguing. Next is It's Not Her, which is coming the 3rd of February. It's about a quiet family vacation which turns violent when two bodies are found, and there's also this teenage niece that is missing, and she could either be in danger or she could be the one that is responsible for the bodies. Her aunt is left to sort through what happened as more secrets start to come out. I'm definitely expecting it to be like really layered and tense. Then there's The Caretaker, which is set to come out on the 21st of April. It's about a woman who takes a short-term caretaking job at a remote house in the woods. And now let me stop you right there. Why would you take such a job? Like, this is literally something out of my nightmares. Working at a remote house in the woods, like, you could offer to pay me millions of and I probably would not agree. Like, this is literally how tons of horror movies start. And I don't know, there's something I hate woods. Like, I know it's like nature and peaceful and everything, but I just think about being alone, and if I'm in danger, I can't even like call out for help. No one's gonna help me. Like, I hate the woods because of the element of being lonely and like kind of vulnerable if something does happen to you. Am I the only one? I am terrified of woods. So a remote house in the woods sounds like the worst nightmare to me. So yeah, I don't know why this woman would take such a job, but that's the setup of the book. And what is more, it's not, it's not even like, oh, everything seems fine. No, it said like the house is off. There are some strange rules, strange noises. Something is like lurking. It apparently also leans into horror territory a little bit. So if something like this is happening, you pack your bags and you run away. Like, why are you still in that house? But even though I would not do this in real life, it is still definitely, I don't want to say fun, but chilling setting for thriller. Especially, if you like these like isolated settings and creepy atmospheres, this book definitely looks promising. Next is Japanese Gothic. This is definitely one of the most unique and interesting books on my list that I will definitely be reading. It's set to come out on the 21st of April. It has dual timeline. There's this modern college student running from a crime he doesn't fully remember. And also this samurai girl in 1800s Japan who is hiding in the same haunted house. It apparently weaves in Japanese mythology and historical fiction, so definitely one of the more original concepts I've seen, and I'm really, really eager to check it out. This story might save your life. It's about two podcast hosts who are known for sharing survival stories until one of them goes missing. And the only clue that is left behind is an unfinished draft of her memoir. Her co-host starts investigating her disappearance while the police start watching him. So if you like thrillers with like this podcast / media angle, this could definitely be a standout. I have read one thriller with this like podcast angle, which was none of this is true, but I ended up not really liking it. So maybe this one will be better. Next is how should I pronounce it? So there's this Korean word. By the way, I live in Korea, so I can speak like Korean quite well. There's this Korean word, molka, which like means this like hidden cameras, that people use to illegally record other people. So this is literally the name of this book. And it takes on, this issue in South Korea, but also in other countries as well. But it is like generally, it is like a big issue in South Korea, these hidden cameras. This specific book talks about a couple that is caught on one of those illegal videos, and when it goes viral, the boyfriend suddenly disappears and he leaves the woman to deal with the fallout alone. So this book explores, shame, obsession, and how trauma from the past can resurface in brutal ways. Yeah, this is just like one of these types of illegal videos. I mean, I've heard of people setting up these illegal cameras, in like bathroom stalls and stuff like that, which is like, oh my god, like definitely when you hear about stuff like this, makes you feel a bit paranoid to, go outside and, go to a public bathroom. Thank God I stay home most of the time, but Oh, it is definitely a scary issue. The next is My Husband's Wife, which is set to come out on the 20th of January. The setup of this book is honestly crazy. This might be the thriller I'm anticipating the most just because of this setting alone. It talks about a woman who returns home to find her key doesn't work. And what is more, there's another woman who looks a lot like her. And she's like suddenly living there. And, her husband says that she is the real wife. I mean, what is going on? The story like jumps between timelines and characters, slowly unraveling what's actually going on. But it is a very crazy setup. And I am so intrigued to see where the story goes. Out of all the thrillers I talked about, this might be the one that I'm like anticipating the most, honestly. Okay, and then the last category is like just some like YA books. These are books that lean younger but still have, very strong storytelling and lots of appeal for adult readers as well. First up is The Escape Game, releasing April 7th. It's a YA mystery which is set on a reality TV escape room show. But the interesting part is that one of the contestants was murdered in the previous season, and now her sister has joined the new cast to find out what really happened. I mean, I feel like if it was real life, if someone was murdered during a reality show, this show would be canceled right away. But I mean, it is fiction, so apparently the show is going on for another season, which is crazy. So it's like a part murder mystery, part puzzle solving thriller. Definitely sounds like a very fast-paced and addictive read. So I'm really excited to read it. Maybe when I'm like feeling like I'm in a bit of a reading slump and I want something just fast-paced to really grab my attention, I feel like that is when I will reach for this book. Next is The Elsewhere Express, which is set to come out on the 20th of January. This one's a little more whimsical and uplifting. It's about a girl who's struggling with grief and lost direction until she ends up on this magical train that helps people find their purpose. Basically, it's like cozy fantasy with creative world building and just some like emotional weight underneath. Definitely good if you are looking for like a hopeful story with a little bit of magic. That's it. That's the list. These are the 2026 book releases that I'm anticipating. Obviously, as time goes on, there will probably be like even more releases that I will be anticipating, but for now, this is the list. Let me know which ones caught your eye, or if you've added any of these books to your TBR, and if there's any 2026 release you think I missed that maybe should have been added to my list, then definitely drop it in the comments. I love finding new stuff through all of you, and I always check out all the like book recommendations that people leave for me in the comments. Maybe I cannot like read them right away, but I always like add them to my TBR, and I will definitely reach for them someday. So like I always read the comments is what I'm saying. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today, and happy reading, and again, happy new year.